welcome to It's Your Season Life. My name is Lisa Boson and this is my kitchen, and this will be, I think, the fourth video we've done, kind of testing some things, seeing how the lighting is going to work, the camera and so forth. So bear with us, we're still working on this. But yeah, my season over the last 18 months has been transitioning to plant-based lifestyle. And so if you're familiar with some of the other videos, we have a plant-based test drive for those who just want to kind of test, experiment with some ideas of what plant-based cooking looks like, what you need in your kitchen and so forth. Today we're going to take a little journey. We're going to cook some French lentils, and we were supposed to go to France, but with everything going on, I guess we won't be going. But I love food, I love cooking, because we can take our journeys through our cooking. Every culture has its legumes and its lentils. This is your factoid of the day. Canada is the largest exporter of lentils. Who knew that one? So if you leave today just with that little tidbit, I find that just fascinating. So today we're going to cook some French lentils. They're my favorite. In particular, they're hard to blow up. You can overcook a lentil and just wind up with a mush. Some people like that, and that's great. If I want a mushy one, I'd rather just take some perfectly cooked lentils and puree them. So today we're going to do green lentils. And they're French peas. I hope I'm saying that anywhere correctly. And I do like to give a shout out to some of the local vendors who provide this to us. So French lentils are a little bit hard to find. Not every bulk bin has them. Here in Fort Collins, we get them at the Mountain Avenue Food Market Co-op. And this is where I got the ones that we're having today. You can certainly get them on Amazon, and they're just a real treasure. So sometimes you need a little break from your beans, your garbanzos, your chickpeas, and so forth. And today it's about lentils. So here they are. They're really just beautiful. And these have been washed. They're darker green. Gosh, there's all kinds of lentils. There's red ones, there's yellow ones, there's brown ones, there's light brown ones. There's just a lot. And so I hope you can see in the video that we have set up, they're really just beautiful. And they're really super. Like in 20 minutes, you're going to have some lentils to either have for just to eat, or to add to other things, or if you want to mush them up, that's perfectly fine too. So seriously, all we're going to do is bring roughly the proportion for lentils and water is 1 to 3. So we're just going to bring it to a simmer. Some people like to bring it to a boil. I'm not, because my cooktop is induction and you're going to hear a buzz, so we don't want to hear that. And with that, while it's coming to be warm, I have an induction cooktop, and I use these wonderful Seal Pat coverings to protect the induction cooktop, and so it doesn't get too scratched. I do not use these if I'm high boiling, frying, that kind of thing. But if I just want to protect a pot a little bit, it works great. So then we're just going to put in the lentils. And this is really stupid easy, but you know, you don't see them out in the market. I mean, you don't see them in restaurants, cafes, and so forth. So you don't get them a whole lot when you're going out to eat. It's almost something you have to do at home. And then all I'm doing is adding in some garlic and some onion. Now, I am not going to add a whole lot of spices to this. This is really just cooking the lentils. And you'll see why at the end of the video of what I do with them. So yeah, we're just going to let these cook a little bit, about 20 minutes. We don't want them to blow up, and French peas, you kind of don't do that. Your brown ones, your yellow ones, your red ones will tend to blow up if you don't watch them. So if you're wanting a really beautiful lentil in your soup, you want some texture, you know, just let them sit for 20 minutes. I'm going to add a little bit of salt. This is my home kitchen, so I'm going to use my fingers. Yeah, so we're just going to seriously let them just cook. We're going to cover them. And we want them to simmer. We don't want them to hard boil. We don't want them knocking against each other. You really just kind of nice simmer. And we'll have that in just a little bit. The other camera will pick that up for us. And then we're going to come back to this in 20 minutes, let them cool, and I'll show you what the next step is. So either you can make a soup, or you can have them for a nice topping as an additive, because we're also going to freeze them. So I want you to know how to do that so you don't wind up with just mush, which you might want that. That's cool. I don't. We'll see in a little bit. So this is a perfect simmer. They're moving just a little bit, but they're not rolling all over the place. So I'm going to just cover it up and give it about another 15 minutes. Okay, so it's been 20 minutes, which actually was almost a little bit too long. So you do have to test this a little bit with your altitude and cooking temperature and your stove. But as you can see, they're really nice and they're still whole. Okay, and what I opted to do was just use whole onions because first, my husband doesn't like chopped onions and things. I really just wanted the flavor, but you can see they're really nice and beautifully whole. There's just a few that tried to blow out on me. So again, it's all about a slow simmer. They don't need to be bumping all over each other really fast and not overcooking them. You want a little al dente, you want a little bite. Not raw, just a little bite. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to strain them. So at this point you can do whatever you want. You can make a soup with them. You can mush, if you like mushy, that's fine. Traditional green French lentil soup has some al dente to it. But again, you know, cooking's creative. It's all about what you want, how you like things, for sure. So, yeah, so just here we are. They're just a little. I'm not going to do all of them right now. I really just want to get this done for you because there's a reason why I'm doing this. We're just going to strain them gently. Okay, pick out some of the onions here. Because really what I want is to keep them whole. We're going to batch because you might decide, French, you really like them, but you want to eat them a lot. Maybe you don't want to have traditional French spices all the time. So, yeah, so we're going to just strain them. Give them a nice strain. There's a little bit of juice at the bottom. We're not going to waste that. You're going to think I'm totally weird on this next section, but all good. So yeah, we're just going to strain them a little bit. Then I prepared this sheet pan with this really cool new product out. You can do it with parchment paper. You don't even have to cover it. But I like putting something in it because then after they're ready, then I can just scoop them up a lot easier. We're just going to spread them out. They're still a little hot, so I'm going to actually let them sit and cool for a little bit. Because then what I'm going to do is put them in the freezer. This isn't bad. So I live in Colorado. It's pretty dry here. I can let them sit for like another 20 minutes and they'll actually dry out as well. We don't want them real wet. So they can sit. They'll steam off. They'll cool. They'll stay beautifully separated. Yeah, so I'm going to wait about 5 minutes. I'm going to put them in the freezer. And then once they're cool, we'll come back. We'll do whatever you want with them. I'll probably use them for lunch. We're going to have them with bulgur, which is the traditional grain of the Levant, the grain growing region in the Middle East. So as you go through plant-based, you're going to discover where a lot of your beans and your lentils and your traditional grains come from. It's a real journey. I highly recommend doing lots of research on that. But yeah, so here we have French lentils. Lentils have the most protein of almost any plant-based. You'll be wanting to eat a lot of these. And in 20 minutes, you're done. And you have some variation on canned beans. There's only about 5 variations of canned beans that you can use. And lentils will give you a lot more. You'll also see a lot, there's a whole list of lentils and legumes and beans that I have in the plant-based test drive that you can check off and say, gosh, I haven't tried French lentils before. Let me give these a try. So absolutely worth. So we're going to let them sit for 5 minutes And then I'll come back to you after we're taking them out of the freezer. You can use a smaller pan, whatever size freezer you have. And we'll just talk a little bit more, and yeah, then we'll move on to the next. Okay, well, it has been about 15-20 minutes. The lentils have been in the freezer, and this is why this parchment paper or this really cool, really thin steel pat baking sheet is so helpful, because you can just kind of make a funnel with these. You can pile all your lentils to the side. They're still really nice and separate. None of them have kind of gotten mushy. Might still be a little more wet than I like, but we'll stick them in here, and then we just put them in the bag. And ta-da, you don't have lentils all over your kitchen. I've done that with poppy seeds, not fun. So the next thing would be just to put them in a Ziploc, and I like to just lay them flat, and that way they don't, you don't wind up with clumps. You don't wind up with mushy. So I'll deal with that later, but they'll be nice and flat, and then I'll freeze them a little bit more, and then they're ready to go. So what do you do with lentils? Certainly you can have them French style. You notice I did not put any herbs in mine. I really wanted just some onions and some garlic, so I have something kind of a plain canvas to work with, but with a little bit of flavor. So it turned out really nice. This is the onions and the garlic that I had pulled out, and what I will do with this, if I want to, is emulsify it with some of the strained broth. So you remember I said, you know, let's reserve that, and the reason you want to do that for a couple reasons. One, you might want to put these two together in an immersion blender, and then you can add a little bit more lentils, or you can just have this as your base and have lentils with an additive, so you've got the soup base for it. So with the broths from beans and lentils is save it, so you've got the original to work with, but maybe you don't want, you want more of the whole lentil for some things like a salad, or you want them for a soup. So just a quick tip, you can save this, because plant-based eating and lifestyle and cooking is not about preparing just a meal. It's also having things on hand that you can assemble and that you might want to change the flavors out. So speaking of that, I'm just I always say your spice shop is your best friend. I'm a purist, honestly. I love having using fresh rosemary and fresh thyme. But all my friends who don't cook say, Lisa, I need something quick and easy. So your spice shop is your friend. Our local spice shop is, one of them is the Spice and Tea Exchange. I've done some tastings there, so they've been very good to me. So I'm going to give them a shout out and a little free commercial. But these are some things that you might want to add to your, lentils, or I'm going to add them to our bulgur in just a little while. And so then it winds up looking like this. You have kind of a lentil salad. I'm going to do a little bit more correction with it, but I wanted you to see what it looks like. While everything was going on, I took a carrot and diced it and put it in the microwave for 4 minutes in a little bit of water, because I do think you need a little color with a dish. And so we had some pea shoots left over. It tastes really good because it had a little bit of onion and garlic in it. So this is kind of, well, I would say the whole version of it. And then if we wanted to, we could make it into a soup even if we wanted to. Even at this stage, you could go throw it in a blender with a little bit of the broth and go for it. So quick tips today on what you can do with French lentils. I think they're the easiest legume that you can work with. You can have them on a slow simmer while you're doing other things in the kitchen, like unloading the dishwasher. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video today. Be sure and subscribe, because I have other videos coming, and more quick tips. Trying to really listen to my friends that I need something fast. It's got to be tasty. It has to be flexible. And lentils, you really can't go wrong with that. So thanks for joining me. We'll see you with the next video.